Hey, did you ever hear back from Rod?
Who's Rod?
Rob?
Oh, West End Rob?
West End Rob.
Doesn't have a phone.
There's a billing issue.
Thanks for sitting with us. Oh,
I'm
you're
not
standing.
sitting. I'm standing.
You know, you're very hesitant about
I'm about to leave.
joining the podcast.
This had better be good for both of us.
It's great for all of us.
No, it's great for you. I'm yet to be thrilled.
Oh, we get a lot of shots. Everybody come to their net. We just have to get more and more pucks to their net.
What were you saying about putting pucks on net?
Pucks on net.
Pucks on net.
Continue to put pucks on net.
Pucks on net.
Well, that's the key. We got to get the puck on net.
We used to talk about in Vancouver getting pucks on net.
Pucks on net and driving and making it a hard night on them.
5 long years.
Live on tape from Geeta's apartment, her palatial estate on the 23rd floor. This is Pucks on Net, a Vancouver hockey podcast. Doesn't talk about fantasy or fancy stats. Geeta's going to be crushing some sort of vegan salad. It looks pretty good, actually.
It looks like it's got crispy chickpeas in it.
Yeah, it's healthy. It probably costs $46, and so she'll join us shortly.
Well, if you get a bungalow in Vancouver, like in Point Grey, the basement is full of crispy chickpeas. That's why the houses are over $1 million.
Oh, that makes sense.
For our out-of-town listeners, if they've ever wondered why Vancouver real estate is so expensive, chickpeas covered in chickpeas.
Who would have thought? Like, geez, that's that. I mean, everybody knows that.
The only thing the salad is missing is avocado, but I couldn't afford the extra $52.73.
You've got to have a cosigner for the avocado. Your parents got to come in and they got to cosign for the avocados.
It is really expensive. It's unnecessary, if you ask me.
I know. I went into a Red Burrito and they charged me $2 for a scoop of guac.
Yeah, the little Chipotle scoop.
And you've got to make sure they give you a substantial amount of guacamole. Because, Chipotle does it. And then they try to skimp on the guacamole they give you. And you're like, if you're going to charge me $4.75, I want a whole fucking bag of avocados.
I got a pretty good laugh from this girl who's behind me in line.
Yeah.
The Red Burrito guy puts the avocado, like the guac in my thing, and I'm like, put a little more in there, cowboy.
Just keep it coming.
Just the way I said, like, hey, put a little more in there, cowboy. And he was like, yeah, okay. I was like, that ice cream scooper was not full. And I better not see any brown in that avocado. That's got to be the primo stuff.
I had a big hunk in mine, and I don't know if I had to remash it or.
Oh, that's unacceptable. You send it back. If there's a hunk in my avocado, I send it back.
I opened it at home, and it ruined my night. It ruined my chicken bowl from Chipotle.
Oh, Chipotle. Shame.
Big fan. My name is Ryan Chapp, and I am your Chipotle enthusiast and your host for the podcast. My immediate left, riding shotgun, really giving her on this salad is Geeta. Are you? Where's your? Oh, that's why your mic's there.
Oh, my mic was in an inappropriate place.
And Dave, you're across from me in the hot corner.
And just like the Chipotle in your system, I'm here for a good time, but not a long time.
Just like the Washington Capitals, which we'll get to in just a second. Their bender appears to be over, but we'll go through that.
They were on a heater like nobody else has been on a heater, and Ovechkin deserved every second of that partay.
I couldn't agree more, and we'll go right back to there. But we have to thank, we have a new donor on Patreon, Matt Hides. He just pledged $5 this week, just so after Geeta's unfortunate dump and chase tale, it sold him to hear more of all of our tales of horrid internet dating, and they're usually on Dump and Chase or on our 5 Minutes for Pangs. You can hear about the time the girl threw up on my duvet cover on a one-night stand. Great story. You can hear about the time Paul and I dated the same disaster woman about 8 months apart from one another, and the same date occurred.
Well, there was that R. Kelly and Usher music video that's based on you and Paul's adventure.
Yeah.
Same girl.
Because we were in Atlanta at the time, and he was in Chicago.
That's right.
Oh, I thought that was that Brandy and Monica song.
There's that one too. This is a very influential.
The Boy
podcast.
Is Mine.
Yeah, we're also a very incestuous podcast.
So make sure you
we've yet to find love in a lonely place.
So make sure you follow us on Twitter at PucksOnNetCA or PucksNetCa. And if you want to support the show monetarily, hear those embarrassing tales and pledge a couple of bucks. Patreon.com/PucksOnNet. And because it's worked so well, if you haven't done so yet, please rate and review the podcast on iTunes. Leave a comment and help defeat that awful Steve Jobs algorithm. If it's really good, we'll read it on the air. But now, on to the most important things. The Stanley Cup has been with the first daughter. It's been hoisted over the head of Alex Ovechkin for 90.
It's been in proximity to Jared Kushner.
Yes.
So they had to cover it in baby wipes. They had to baby wipe the hell out of that thing.
Yeah, you know when like you go to an old person's home and they still have the plastic on the couch?
Yeah.
That's what they did. That's what that old guy with the weird floppy hair did with the cup.
Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get your reptilian fingerprints on it, Jared.
They didn't share it from their feed. Somebody else tweeted that they were in the same restaurant. Jared and Ivanka were having a nice, reasonable deal.
Did they even know what that trophy was?
No, but they recognized all the Russians.
Hey, Ovi. Hey, that's our fixer. He's the guy that knows the guy who knows the guy. Wouldn't that be something?
Well,
You know that Ovechkin is going to the frickin' White House.
A couple people have already said they're not going. Well, mainly one.
Devontae Smith-Pelly. I heard him say that who else isn't going?
That's the only one. I was riffing.
Are you just assuming
going? Because if he wants to ever go back home again.
Yeah, because Putin, that's his boy. Some more Trump-related hockey controversy today. Paulina Gretzky being photographed getting out of a Trump helicopter.
Oh.
Yeah, with her husband. They were going to the U.S. Open, which starts on Thursday. And her Instagram followers were apparently unhappy about this.
Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't deliberate. Like a woman like that, if she's on the ball about anything, if she's point on about anything, it's her Instagram. So I just like to acknowledge that seems to be the wind that blows the Gretzky and Johnson family.
I just think that they're frugal because I know that rooms at the Trump Hotel here in Vancouver have gone down in price upwards of 65%, and I think the same would go for a high-end helicopter ride.
They're probably sick of all the people peeing on the beds.
It's not a Trump-owned golf course that they're playing at.
No, they're not. It's not a Trump-owned golf course. But she took a Trump helicopter. So anyway, food for thought. But yeah, Ovechkin has not put the Stanley Cup down since Thursday. He's being a bit of a cup hog.
He's lost. He doesn't have it anymore. I've been following his Instagram stories and most of the Capitals all through the weekend.
Okay.
And he has finally lost the grip on it. I guess they have gone to clean it. There's a lot of... what's that?
Astroglide?
No, what's that? There's a lot of gazpacho. It's stained the inside.
Borscht and
Borscht,
gazpacho.
tomato soup served ice cold.
Cabbage rolls were in there.
Yeah,
cocaine all over that thing. So much nose beer all over that.
That's
cup.
going to be out of your system by September. They're fine.
Fine. Oh yeah. No, it's actually 48 hours. You can pee that right out.
I thought that was the single. Like one thing I like about that celebration is not that they partied so hard, which that's awesome that they did. They deserve every single morsel of beer and hoot and holler. And
well, also you win it in the city. Like you always want to win it at home, but if you're going to win it in a road city, no better city in the world to win it in than Vegas.
What would the worst road city be to win a Stanley Cup in? And is
Raleigh,
Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh for sure.
Raleigh. That's really bleak.
Because anywhere in Canada, like the Cup will create a party. Like even if you beat the Oilers in Edmonton, people would come out.
Ottawa, it closes at 5:00.
They will open up.
They would open up.
They'll open up the Swiss Chalet for the.
Hey, when I won the Northwest League championship in Boise, Idaho, they opened the bar back up for us.
They're like, all right, let's do it.
But apart from that celebration, the after celebrations, there was just so much sheer joy. The moment he won, the moment it was handed to him.
Well, we literally watched an anvil get taken off a man's shoulders.
Like, you want to see a hockey player react like that to winning the Stanley Cup.
I don't remember seeing anyone react like that.
It's not all about the money. It really shows it's not all about the money.
I will say one guy that gives him a run for his money for celebrating with the cup is Ray Bourque when Joe Sakic gave it to him.
Ray Bourque, also in the Bizarro Stanley Cup Final, Rod Brendamore, he was pretty freaking happy.
But he also grabbed it before Gary Bettman could say, come get the Stanley Cup.
Well, that was post-lockout protest.
Love it. I love that.
That was a big fuck you to Uncle Gary.
Yeah, that's a hard... Like, they don't have a lot of videos of the Hurricanes grabbing the cup because, well, it's just... They seem to not be too happy about that one.
Well, and it was on Versus. That was barely a channel.
I think it was on, Outdoor Life Network.
Outdoor Life Network.
Ovechkin just the way, like he was like screaming pure elated joy, and I just love it. That was the greatest thing.
Well, all the supply of haterade on Alexander Ovechkin has run out.
Well, it's the 2 months of work. But it's also like what, the 12, 13 years he's been in the league.
13th season, and
with
arguably
one team.
probably the 10th season where everybody's expected them to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
And this was the year they were even saying we were embracing the possibility we might not make the playoffs because they went with kids. They didn't just fill their lineup up with Justin Williams and whoever else they could get their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
That was the weirdest one. That's where you knew that they started to.
They're getting desperate
because like we need a guy that we can't win Game 7. Where's Justin Williams? And let's bring him in for big bucks.
It's like the 2012 Canucks. We got beat up by the Bruins. Let's go get some thugs.
Mike Duco.
Right.
Yeah, let's sign Mike Duco. That Duco factor. No, great for them. I've always been an Ovi fan, but probably more so now. And people like Paul Chapman in the province and that they're getting on him about going too far with the celebration.
It's Monday and he stopped celebrating.
Come on, man. They won the Stanley Cup.
They won it on a Thursday. Give them a break.
They won it after their window had apparently shut. Like, this was an unexpected win, and they played well. They sacrificed. And it's a lot of guys who've been together for a long time. Like, Backstrom and Ovechkin have been on that team together for a long time. Holtby's been on the team for a long time.
But that's the thing. Like, what is too far? Because I don't think I've seen anything that I would have said is too far.
Like, they swam in the fountain at Natnall's Park.
The cup wasn't with them. They were just drunk in a fountain.
He had his pants on. It was fine.
That's fine.
They were singing Blink-182 in a party bus. No.
Then it's fine. Nobody got hurt.
Nobody's gotten hurt. I absolutely.
They paid off the right people, and we don't know yet. It'd be fine.
Nobody was driving drunk. They had a party bus. Everything's good.
It was like 4 straight. Did you see the video of TJ Oshie drinking 2 beers at once?
I love the video of Ovi with the keg stand, air quotes, whoosh, whoosh, doing champagne out of the Stanley Cup. A little bit of I would have. Yeah, you would have had to, unless a lot of Red Bull.
Yeah, not in this town. You don't do it in this town.
Dragon fruit, is that the thing?
Yeah, you don't know. You don't hit the nose beers in Vancouver. It's all fentanyl. You're gonna die. So
one thing I absolutely love is that in previous parties that they would have a team. A roped off VIP celebrate with the cup in a bar. The Capitals were just walking down. I've never seen this before. They were walking down the street with the cup.
The last team to do this was apparently the 80s Oilers did this. They just took the cup everywhere. They were taking it into lunchrooms and offices.
That's incredible. Like, that is you're celebrating with the people. Like, that's amazing. And they started doing that Thursday. You could see the video of Ovi walking drunk through the MGM Grand.
But good for them because they have the personalities that can do that. Could you imagine someone in Vancouver doing that? No, because there's no. There's no captain.
Brandon Sutter
is not gonna pop into the TD building
be like,
"Hey guys."
He might take it to like Applebee's or something. back in where the
there's a Metro Town. TGI Fridays at Metro Town.
He'll take it to Fridays, or he'll take it back to the co-op in whatever town they're from.
No, take it to the White Spot down by on
Dunsmuir.
Ron Toigo wants us to stop by at the White Spot.
That one's always empty too. There's like 5 people.
Let's go there. Nobody will be there.
Yeah, that's the tourist trappy one. Mrs. Dave and I went in there not that long ago because we had like $80 in White Spot gift cards that I hadn't used.
And you're like,
from our Giants days.
Give me a picture of Gravel Island Lager for the table.
For the kids listening, when Ryan and I were independent contractors not working for the Vancouver Giants, that was our bonus money every year.
The Christmas gift.
For White Spot gift cards of up to $50.
Yeah, so you'd get 2. And then it went down to 25 and then 20. And then it was just, hey, you still work here. That's all you need.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
One thing I love is he threw out the first pitch at the Nationals game.
Oh yeah. He booched it.
But he had the balls to say, "Give me another one," and he threw the next one right in, which is great because nobody wants to be 50 Cent. So if you own it and you're like, "That sucked, give it to me again," but then he was up in a skybox.
He was also very drunk in his defense, so that's okay.
Yeah, like the fact that he threw a good solid, some high inside heat, like that's good.
It's a strike, but it's a high strike. It's the new strike.
It's one of those Roger Clemens strikes.
Yes,
big strike zone today.
Yeah, Roger's on the hill. We're gonna be out here in a tight 45 minutes.
But they had Ovechkin up in the skybox, and he had the cup. Not everybody saw this. He just was standing there during the game with the cup over his shoulders.
Yeah.
Because in baseball, and especially in Major League Baseball,
Can't show live play on the Tron.
no live play on the screen. So he's thinking, all right, once there's a break. So he sat there a whole inning with the cup over his head. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, good for them. Very happy for them. Vegas now gets to learn what it's like to be the rest of us.
They're on the Tonight Show tonight. It'll be Holtby and Ovechkin and the cup.
That's where they were going because I saw the photo of them with the cup strapped into the vehicle.
I don't know. Jimmy Fallon's a pretty hard-hitting interviewer, you know.
He's just going to laugh over them while they...
Yeah.
So I guess Ovi hasn't let the cup go then if he's on a plane with it to L.A.
Nobody wants to separate him from it?
From my investigative journalism, strictly involved in Instagram stories, that's how I tell you if Jake Virtanen's working out and if Ovi still has the cup. It appeared that he slept with it either Saturday night, and it was cleaned and or prepped. Yeah,
Well,
yesterday
it's gonna be on TV. We can't have it covered in borscht and blood.
in blood.
It's covered in deer blood.
I just love those. I just love that these guys are just walking around, and you never. I don't know if like let's be honest. Which of if the Canucks won the cup with this team and they're just walking around Yaletown, we could rough them up. We could get that puck off them.
Still not recognize the players.
Like if Sam Gagne's got it over his head, we can
we could mug him. Between me and you and Geeta, the three of us, like Geeta could distract him, and you and I would just have to take it.
No. Here's what we do. I'll distract him. Geeta will get on her hands and knees underneath him, behind him, and then you'll push him, and then the cup will go up in the air. Geeta will grab it like a baby falling.
Louis Erickson will try to stop us, but it'll hurt his knee.
And then we'll just run, and we'll have it here.
Yeah.
And then we'll make a killing inviting people up here to eat cereal out of it.
Mm-hmm. This is your master plan.
It's a good plan.
It's not a bad plan.
This goes to some questions about Ovi. I want to say right off the bat. Sean asked, what was our favorite Ovechkin Cup celebration moment so far? And in terms of sheer celebration, just the second he got it, I think was amazing.
Yeah,
enough.
me too. The screaming was great. It was a little peculiar that he wasn't on the ice for the last play of the game. Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Big body like that on the inside of that face-off, pinning the guy.
I know. And there was a weird controversy in Game 5 where the clock stopped working.
Yes, it did. And now I was screaming at my TV because I had no idea how much time was left.
Yeah, and I know they have the stopwatch, but just like of all places, of all teams and all towns.
It would be weird like that Patrick Kane goal ending where no one knows it's even over and Anthony Emmy's just standing there and Kane jumps on him and he's like, what? Like, yeah. If you remember that, that was a nice goal, but you want a moment. Yeah. Okay, well, moving on from that, the Islanders. Speaking of Capitals, segue.
Yeah,
their number one goalie next year is probably the other guy. It's probably Grubauer.
The Islanders are going to get Grubauer.
They got to go after Grubauer.
Though. Yeah. Okay. Grandpa Lou went into Long Island and he said, "Okay, where can I take care of some business and where can I right some wrongs?" And he looked at the head coach and he said, and then he looked at the GM and he went, "Ooh."
So what do you think they're going to do for general manager?
Lou's already named himself interim.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, interim bullshit. Yeah. He ain't giving that
Brian
up.
Burke was GM and president of hockey operations, so he can just do that.
Yeah.
You think an AV?
I think absolutely.
I think that's a no-brainer.
There's a couple of teams that need coaches still.
Mark Crawford could get back in the game.
I'm just up the road in Ottawa. AV doesn't have a job yet, and I think everybody else has been shuffled over.
Yeah.
The Rangers are trying with the college guy from Boston University.
What fuck college ball? I don't fucking.
They play on. He coaches on Saturdays.
What if he gets tired? It's a long season.
Yeah, he's got to coach once a week in the Cage League.
It'll be like when Willie
fucking pretty boys.
It'll be like when Willie had his hip surgery and he had those weird little padded shelves on the bench for him to lean on.
Yeah,
and we're like, oh, we have a senior citizen.
Mandelbaum. Yeah, nothing makes your coach look vigorous like a lean pad.
I need a lean pad. I just had hip surgery. Oh, really?
He's day-to-day lower body.
Pittsburgh wanted this guy.
So they need a goalie. They need a coach. But John Tavares, the real Johnny Hockey,
needs a home.
And here's the thing. I think Garceau is getting fired because it's already a done deal and he didn't get him re-signed. Ultimately, I think that's why.
What do you mean? Like that Tavares is for sure leaving?
I think this is purely speculation. I don't know anything for sure, but the way I'm reading the situation, he still hasn't signed an extension, and we're into June. It's like we're getting down to the 11th hour here.
Yeah.
For a guy that important to a franchise, and now the general manager has been fired.
The coach has been fired. Some grandpa that makes you shave is now your boss.
It's Hail Mary time. They're trying everything that they can to get Tavares to re-sign.
Right.
But as of now, he's not re-signing. And the reason that if Garth Snow had extended John Tavares, he would still have a job. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah, that's his one job
That's
this
the
summer.
one thing you have. Like, everything else is course correctable. You didn't have a goalie last year. We'll get one this year. You got Matt Barzal. He's an exciting young player. They have some young defensemen on that team that are quite good.
They have all those gifts from the Oilers.
Yeah. Eberle had a bounce back year.
Yeah.
So if you get a goalie and Tavares locked up, you're probably going to be at least in contention for a playoff spot next year.
Absolutely.
And you've guaranteed yourself a job for a couple more years.
You've got a rink getting built where your fans actually fucking live. Like, everything's there. The only reason that you would really fire Garth Snow after he survived everything else, everything that guy has survived, nuclear holocaust, like that mumps outbreak that got Sid, the guy never got fired. So why fire him now? It's because he couldn't get Tavares on the bottom line. And I really strongly, unlike Stamkos, where I was always like, he's going back to Tampa. I think John Tavares is Johnny go bye-bye. I think he's out of there.
Well, when I was going to say it smells like John or Steve Stamkos, where he's like, I'm not signing. He went for his walk. He went on the Lucic tours. And then he's like, I think they got
grass isn't always greener.
Yeah, I think I got a good situation.
Yeah, but
here.
the grass is like,
but it ain't
5 subway stops from anything interesting.
There's no grass on Long Island.
Yeah, there's no delicious Tampa grass.
It's all concrete. Yeah, you're not playing in Tampa with that nice tax shelter.
Yeah.
Like, you say what you want.
But apparently the grass is pretty green in Vancouver because it rains often.
No, it rains cap space, Geeta. The only reason that Vancouver is on the list, and it's we don't expect to win. We're just thrilled with the nomination.
It's a surprise Oscar year.
Straight out of Compton, Best Picture. Really?
What? It's called We Can Give Him the Max Deal. If he comes to Vancouver, it's because he would be getting the big money. I think what will happen, again, it's purely speculation, just reading the room and reading the situation. Vancouver will be in this fight way too long.
Yeah.
We're all going to get excited. And then it's like, oh my God, it's down to 2 teams, because what Vancouver will do is drive the price up. Because there's they can give him whatever and they'll be under the cap.
We'll give you 2 Sedins worth of money. What do you say?
Literally, they can give him Hank and Dank's bank. They can give him like $12 million a year.
Hank and Dank's bank.
For
I like that.
5 or 6 years. They can give him that money. And no one would think that Jim Benning's an idiot for doing it, because you'd still have cap space. You can't give him $24 million. You can't give him $14 million.
They're gonna try,
but you could give him a shitload and back end it. Probably still have $4 or $5 million of cap to sign some supporting cast,
right?
And play the kids. They go, well, we got all that. Then there's your excuse for not going out and getting Michael Del Zotto again. All our money's tied up in Jonathan Tavares, so we gotta let the kids play, because we blew all that Johnny Hockey money.
Gotta let the old video game U11 heal.
But he's not going to sign. It's going to be like he's going to walk right to the edge of the cliff and then not go over. He'll walk to the edge of the cliff and be like, he'll go to somebody like Toronto and be like, you give me like $1 million less than what Vancouver's going to pay me, and I'll go with you.
But what about the lure of Sam Gagner, according to this page I'm looking at?
And we'll promise not to sign your clone, Nazem Kadri. Put that in the contract.
Oh, then Vancouver's going to sign Kadri and trying to sell it as
no.
Well, we didn't get... So we got the next best thing.
Tyler Bozak.
Please, God, no. If they sign Tyler Bozak, I will not be happy.
Are we willing it to happen because we talk about it so frequently?
It just seems like something that they would do.
Yeah.
When it smells like Louis Eriksson. They could get him. They don't need him. We don't really want him.
He's a guy we can get. We could have a press conference on this guy.
We got Bozak, and he was the guy underneath the guy underneath the guy above, below Austin Matthews. So he's pretty good.
It's like booking Richard Stamos for the PNE.
Actually, 2018 booking John Stamos for the PNE.
There you go. Jesse and the Rippers.
They'll sing forever and then that's it.
They were big in Japan.
They were huge in Japan.
They had one song.
That almost tore up their marriage because Aunt Becky got a little jealous.
Have mercy.
We
We were talking about this like last week, but like first female crushes.
Yeah.
That was mine.
Aunt Becky.
Fun fact, Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky or he actually, yeah.
She woke up my manly wiles.
That is inappropriate.
She had great cheekbones.
She's very pretty, and she was working on a show here in Langley for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a CBC show. So your grandma probably watches it.
Just like Murdoch Mysteries.
That's who's watching Murdoch Mysteries.
We're watching Murdoch Mysteries.
It's people who fall asleep in front of Hockey Night in Canada, and then Murdoch Mysteries plays for an hour on their TV, and it counts.
It usually comes on while we're doing the podcast, by the way.
My favorite
and
thing,
we leave it on, so it counts.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about playoff hockey is where you leave CBC on, and then you stop paying attention, and then about 10 minutes later, you hear the Just for Laughs gags laugh track, and
it's the worst laugh track in music.
The Winnipeg Comedy Festival.
If you go on domestic flights within Canada, that's your only entertainment option. Sometimes it's just that they don't have like a media player option on the screens.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an endless 1 hour reel of Just for Laughs gags where you're trying to not kill yourself for going to Edmonton in the wintertime already.
I've seen one or two funny gags on Just for Laughs gags.
Some of them are a little dated. Some of them are a little like men flashing, and you're like, oh, I don't know. Oh, Phyllis.
Did they see Karen from behind?
Did they even get a look at Pam or Karen from behind?
It's funny we just segue to The Office, because I think that when Jim Benning brings John Tavares into the office, it's gonna be like Dwight prepping it for roadside beet sales, where he puts a big plant in front of, or Trevor Linden will do it. He'll put a big plant in front of Jim Benning, and he'll like put all their exciting. Look at the sports bar, it's brand new, and here's Brock Besser just hanging out.
Those are the money beats.
Yeah, Brock Besser is our money beat, and a restaurant that nobody goes to after 9:00.
And Thatcher Demko. Ain't he big?
He's huge. He could be here, but we hear Michael DiPietro's pretty good too.
Well, we've got a goalie. What does Long Island have?
Do we have? We don't really have a goalie. We have
We
potential.
could sell it.
We got
as
some.
goalie.
We got some fucking magic beans.
Hey, you don't have to trade our Magic Beans goalie to Long Island. He's a UFA.
We did that with New Jersey once. Worked out okay-ish.
Ish, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's okay.
The other news about the Canucks that is really warming my heart of things that we can.
Brandon Sutter.
Brandon Sutter gotta go.
Please.
But then that's C. Where's it gonna go? Tavares?
I wish that
round and round, and where it goes, where it stops, nobody was probably in the drawer for another season.
Alex Edler knows.
No.
He'll never pass again.
I wanna, for those listening at
I get that shot at the last second.
For those listening
you
at
might
home,
send emails saying I'm the captain.
for those listening at home, the pure euphoria on Geeta's face when she said the idea that Brandon Sutter might be leaving was that of her on Christmas morning, or getting a Polly Pocket or an Easy Bake Oven, of just sheer joy.
Just don't trade him for Luch. That's what Louis Eriksson's for.
Yeah, the Louis Eriksson Lucic trade, ugly for ugly, that we've talked about all year. I'm all for, because nobody wants Luch, and Edmonton's gone on record saying they are willing to sweeten the pot and make it in their favor. So they need him to go. It's a fire sale.
What else do they want to dispose of this way?
But I'd take
Sweeten the pot.
Sweeten the pot.
Sweeten the pot.
Sorry.
Larson,
Oh yeah, right.
he's better than Taylor Hall.
Winky face.
But Brandon Sutter, because Ryan Kessler is going to be is likely going to miss the year. All three California teams have been called about Brandon Sutter, and I guess
just throw him and let them fight.
Yeah, give me a Jake Muzzin or something and call it a day. I'll take that.
a Donskoy.
Yeah, give me something like that.
Give me something. Give me a Patrick Eves if he's ready to come back next year. Sat out the whole season.
Patty, there you go. See, that sounds good. That sounds way better than foundational player Brandon Sutter.
Yes.
My big pick is they should just let him, trade him for something, and then get a Jay Beagle, who
on the unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, but he's the guy that's gonna make huge David Clarkson money. Jay Beagle was
he's gonna get that David Clarkson money. He's gonna get that Ryan Clough money.
It's because I made me think about it.
It was something Beagle.
Beagle was
he's about to be a very rich dude.
He has been fallen victim to Alex Ovechkin's Stanley Cup hogging.
Oh,
he was their bottom six kind of centerman that 60%. He won 60% of the draws in the finals, and people are all Beagle. And so there's been trends in hockey after Stanley Cup wins. After the Bruins and after the Kings, we need big bottom six David Clarkson defensemen. That's what wins you Stanley Cups. Now you want a serviceable bottom six center, and with all these California teams willing to accept Brandon Sutter as one of their own, they're going to overpay this guy a lot of money to just kind of win faceoffs, like a Manny Malhotra, but with cup
with 2 good eyes
and 1 ring.
Yeah,
with 2 good eyes.
And Jay Beagle, this is an interesting stat that I wrote down. He is the first player in NHL or in hockey history to win the ECHL championship, the AHL championship, and the Stanley Cup.
This guy's a winner.
Yeah, Idaho Steelheads in 200.
2000?
200 BC.
In 2007, the Bears in 2010, and the Capitals won the Cup on Thursday.
And the 2020 Vancouver Canucks.
Yes, because Jay Beagle and John Tavares and Milan Lucic.
They need a year to gel. Yeah,
they got to. When you have that much talent, that requires a lot of chemistry, Geeta. He was on the subject of John Tavares. He still is childhood friends with Sam Gagner. So I predict Trevor Linden will have Sam Gagner front and center, like he's yours wherever you want to take him. Yeah, he's like a rental pal.
You take him, you rent him, sell him to your friends. Just get him out of here.
If you also didn't know,
take him.
Oh, like as if you don't sign here, you take this with you.
You're taking him. You're hanging out with him one way or another, Tavares.
Oh gosh.
If you didn't know, Alex Ovechkin won the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is the pointiest trophy in sports.
It is a very...
Yeah, you don't want to fall on that one.
You need to get up close to it to see what it really is, which is Maple Leaf Gardens with a leaf behind it.
Yeah, of some kind. It's sharp, and it's made of wood, and he won it.
Yep.
And...
he's basically ignored. It might still be sitting in the middle of the ice in Vegas.
I mean, once they take the Stanley Cup away from him, I'm sure he'll lavish it with some affection.
No, he'll hug the Conn Smythe the way he hugged the cup, and he'll poke his eye out.
Well, that's what happened to Jean-Sébastien Giguère. He won the Conn Smythe, and then he hugged it, and then he never played well ever again. 'Cause it stabbed him in the eye, see? And he couldn't stop the puck, see?
Can you tell the season's over?
We're still talking about hockey here. So
barely.
Yeah.
And Geeta's got a nugget that she was hanging on to. She had some kind of update on her situation.
What situation?
Didn't you have an update? You had a fun fact.
Oh, that's for 5 minutes for paying.
We'll save it for the pay.
That's going behind the paywall.
Yeah.
That Beagle wall.
It doesn't have anything to do with Rob from the West End.
It has everything to do with Jay Beagle.
It's a bottom 6 factoid, but you got to pay top $6 come July.
It sounds like something a factoid the Canucks would buy. Ilya Kovalchuk is looking to come back into the NHL, which is just fantastic.
How long has he been away? Or is he seeing that Russians are winning Stanley Cups and he's like, this is a good time to get back in that market?
I think he's been gone 6 years. 2012-13, I think.
So he missed his prime.
Well, he went to the Stanley Cup in, we talk about bizarro years, LA,
2012
New Jersey.
Stanley Cup, yeah, he was there.
You want to talk about a ratings juggernaut, New Jersey, LA, bam.
Yeah. Would he go back to the team that drafted him?
No,
the
they said
Winnipeg Jets.
Ooh. Apparently he's California loving.
Yeah, he's doing the Brandon Sutter route.
Okay.
Wherever Brandon Sutter doesn't go.
Yeah.
Like Brandon Sutter gets first choice.
Right.
But if you don't land on Brandon Sutter, you take Kovalchuk.
Are you joking though?
No. I am joking.
Yeah,
Brandon's
because there's the thing. One of them's played consistently in the league. The other one's coming all the way from Russia.
Kovalchuk won 2 Gregorian Cups in a sort of good league.
Yeah.
You might have a point. I see where you're coming from.
Are we going to play the game of who's a better hockey player in 2018, Brandon Sutter or Ilya Kovalchuk?
You guys want to go around the horn and do an over-under right now? Who gets more points next year, Kovalchuk or Sutter?
Can I go first?
Yes.
Kovalchuk by like 30.
Geeta?
I'm going to go Brandon Sutter by 10.
I'm going to say Kovalchuk by 45. I'm going way. Kovalchuk's going to come back to the league and get 90 points.
The guys think that 35-year-old Ilya Kovalchuk
I'm saying.
Oh, wait, hang on 1 second.
is a blue chip prospect.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, this is where we rub it in Geeta's face because this sounds like
I think he's still got a lot left.
Patrick Marleau. Age is just a number, Geeta.
I wasn't the one who wrote him off. Dave did.
But now
Yeah.
you're writing off Ilya Kovalchuk for being an old Russian.
You're an ageist, and that's illegal.
You're out. You're done.
I'm not an ageist at all. I didn't care how old Patrick Marleau was.
I'm reporting you to HR.
Paul's gonna have
Gita's
a
Gita's trying to teach me how to use Outlook. That's oppressive.
I'm just mansplaining it.
You want to draw me a diagram?
Paul's gonna have a field day with all these HR notes.
Speaking of which, I told Ryan, I'm sure, but I don't know if I told you. So I was answering public emails at work. I had to give someone a step-by-step on how to use a link.
Were you mansplaining?
Yeah, essentially.
When does
he's
being-
like,
what-
I don't know what to do with this link. I'm like, yeah, click on it.
Where's the line where it goes from like being helpful to mansplaining?
I know it. It's
When it's condescending.
it's unprovoked, where they didn't ask for explanation.
It's where you're making an assumption that I don't know something.
And it usually starts with the word actually.
Actually. Ooh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I can taste it in my tongue.
Yeah,
Like,
so that's
if I've ever done that to either of you, and I'm sure I probably have because I'm a bit of a dick, I apologize profusely. I am so sorry.
I would usually point it out to you.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember once we were watching baseball together, and you clapped me pretty good, and I did clam up. I was like, I felt bad because
what was Geeta? What was Dave mansplaining to you?
Oh, we were watching like
a
a
Mariners game.
Yeah, or
I
a
was,
Yankees.
I was helping
no, it
her
was a
build this
playoff
book.
game.
I was helping her build this bookshelf.
Man,
It was a Yankees playoff game.
and he explained the designated hitter to you?
I don't know what he was explaining. The game in general, I think.
You see, Geeta, actually, baseball was based on a British game called Rounders.
I know that actually.
Did you?
Yeah, because my grandmother used to play it.
Actually.
I'm really surprised you know anything about sports because you're a woman. You see, Geeta, actually, your brain is smaller because you need to have the blood flow for the baby parts.
Yeah, our man brains are bigger. They need to have the knowledge of how to flip a steak on a barbecue and how to do double plays.
And how to know without trying them on that those Nike Monarchs are going to fit just fine.
Oh.
This is my authoritative man voice.
You know, I had to pass
Karen
the
left-
test to go to TSN.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? A sports knowledge test?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right across the board, like everything. Which is how I knew there was a big horse race this weekend, because I always know.
The Belmont Stakes.
Actually,
Actually, there hasn't been that many Triple Crown winners. Just a few.
No, there's been a couple, though, in the last few years, though. That's a lot frequently. Steroids.
Yeah,
I really
it's all the same. That's all those Lance Armstrong things are injecting into those horses.
I quite like because you've sometimes explained the questions that TSN asked you, and one wasn't like name 5 Nashville Predators.
No, yeah, so it would be like, we knew sort of going in that we would have to name like players off teams, and we didn't know what teams we would get. So I know I got 5 Nashville Predators. I got 5 Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
Yeah.
and those were
Ooh, I don't think I could name 5 Carolina Panthers at any
No.
time.
Cam Newton.
I don't think
Well,
I could.
that's now.
But I don't
It
think
was Jake Delhomme back
Jake
then.
Okay, I'll try to do it for back then. Jake Delorme, Steve Smith, Julius Peppers.
We couldn't tell you if you're right or wrong.
Those are the only 3 that I can. And they were a Super Bowl team. Those are the
Yeah.
only 3 that I can name.
He made those up. I think they were.
Well, you know, one of them absorbed their twin.
So that's 2.
If you look closely, there's a photo of Ovechkin hugging the shit out of Max Scherzer, and he's like, "I'm gonna absorb you now."
I know about the man inside of you. I listened to Pucks on that. Dave blew the lid off on that. You murdered your twin in the womb by
That
absorbing
needs to be
them.
the cover photo.
Of that hug.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like when you absorb your twin.
We've covered the whole bender, which has really warmed my heart. It was a bender with the people, bender with presidential children.
Oh, you mean the president himself? He's a dick.
And now we're in the horrible limbo, but where we wait to hear where John Tavares signs.
We're waiting to see where John Tavares signs. We're waiting to see who gets traded at the draft, which I always like the draft.
Yeah.
Draft is fun.
Yeah.
We're going back to Vegas, I take it.
Is that where the draft is?
Draft's in
No,
Dallas.
but the don't they do the awards there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They can pick up the Conn Smythe trophy where it was left on the floor at the rink.
They're gonna there's gonna be a big Clarence Campbell Bowl parade in outside the NHL awards.
See, for a while, I thought they were just going to stay there till the awards.
I wonder where James the real deal Neal's going. I think he's going back to Nashville on a discount.
He's going to the third California team.
He's the modern day Marian Hossa.
Yeah, he's chasing the cup.
2 straight finals, embarrassing losses.
I think he's going back to Nashville. That's my prediction.
Well, there's a roster spot. Mike Fisher's going to
Mike
be
Fisher
gone.
will be back
2
in
roster spots.
February.
There's 2 roster spots.
Oh?
Mike Fisher's out and Scotty Hartnell's out.
Oh.
The Predators already announced they're not going to re-sign him.
That seems like that's something they should have done years ago.
I heard he's going to have dinner at Black and Blue with the Canucks. Just in case we don't land Tavares, we're going to get that Hartnell money out.
I always think back to that famous press conference when they got Willie Mitchell, they had Roberto Luongo and Lucas Krajicek,
Yeah.
and they're all wearing the different jerseys. There's going to be one this summer that's going to have Scott Hartnell, Tyler Bozak,
Brandon
and-
Sutter.
as the captain.
Yeah, his C reveal. Or Ron Hainsey.
Oh, God.
He eats up minutes. They're not quality minutes, but they're minutes.
A real stud defenseman a couple of years ago. He's just what you need.
You know you're really not very good when they're talking about the most unfancy stat of all time, how long you're on the ice every day. Well, he plays 22 minutes a night. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I'm asking you. Were they good minutes?
Listen,
He's got stamina.
this is the Canucks. They're playing for 31st this year. We just need a guy that can be out there, a
Only
warm
reason-
body.
You know the only reason we're not playing for 32nd is because Seattle isn't starting yet.
That's right. That's supposed to be voted on in, I think, next week.
Everyone knows how that's going. They're not going to turn down all that money.
People,
If somebody wants to pay $650 million, they'll add as many fucking teams as they can fit. If you got 6 kids out there, if anybody you're billionaires, you can put a team on the moon and Gary take that money.
that's going to cost a lot for road trips.
Great. Someone's now going to do it.
The Mexico City Roosters.
They're going to play in a soccer stadium with
The
90,000 people.
Astrodome. Is that what we're calling the stadium on the moon?
Astrodome 2. We'll repurpose. We'll recycle parts from the original Astrodome. It'll be very green.
I want to go to a couple of questions here. Chels asked a very good question, and it makes me think.
Okay.
Tampa has made the conference final twice and the Stanley Cup final in the last 4 years. What do they need to do to change to make it to win it all?
Well, I feel like they could have easily this year. I feel like you stay the course for the most part.
It worked for Washington.
They did, though. They tinkered a little.
I don't think they need to change much. I think it was kind of like they just didn't get the breaks. Like, honestly, I think Vasilevsky's going to get better with experience. He's still a fairly young goalie, so you get him a year older, he's better. Kucherov's best years are still ahead of him.
Who did Tampa lose to? Washington.
Yeah, and
See, if it had gone the other way, this would have been Tampa's cup.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, Braden Holtby got hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they have to answer Chel's question. It's kind of a boring answer. It's an unsexy answer, but don't. You're still in your window. Don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
Don't fuck up that room. It's a good room by all accounts. They really like each other. Those guys play for each other. I think they come back hungry next year, and they'll be right there again in the mix in the last 4 teams.
From what I've heard, they're looking to move Tyler Johnson, which is
TJ.
He'll be coming to Vancouver in that.
Yeah, jersey reveal. We'll be wearing our new practice 4th. We got the guy behind the guy behind the guy. That's a total Canuck move.
Yeah.
Because he's about a 50-point guy, but he's a 50-point guy playing against the third pairing.
Yeah.
They're going to give him top 6. They'll give him the old 6x6
Yeah,
because he's not
Jimbo.
that old.
He's 28.
He'll get the 6x6 special, but then he'll be playing against like guys like Oliver Ekman Larson and every fucking night.
Drew
And
Doughty.
suddenly
Doughty.
he's exposed.
All of a sudden, he goes from 25 to 15 and from 55 to 35, and we're all like, well, at least it's better than Brandon Sutter.
Who is the guy behind the other guy?
Yeah, exactly.
It went Sid. It was on Sid, Gino, and Brandon Sutter.
The 3 of us have really stumbled across something on this show. It's the guy behind the guy behind the guy does not play against the top pairing
No.
guys.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to UFA season, as I call it, silly season, well, I'm going to give them the old 6x6. That's why they named it after me.
That's It sounds like an infection
So
now.
go find an overachieving third liner. That's your Vancouver top liner.
and then show him off for what he really is.
He could go for the
Not
trifecta. He could go for Tyler Johnson, Carl Hagelin,
yeah. Oh, Carl
and
Hagelin.
Bosey.
Ugh, Vancouver with their top 4 third liners.
That's the top one.
Oh, that'd be such a good name for a beer league team. Top 4 third line. Top 6 third line. And everybody's got a name bar from like a famous third liner. Jay Beagle, Brandon Sutter, Tyler Bozak, Tyler Johnson,
Carl Hagelin.
Carl Hagelin, Connor Sheary.
Oh man, hey, actually, there's one thing I wanted to say about because Connor.
Old Mark Recchi, not young Mark Recchi. That was top 6. Old, so the last 10 years of his career.
Give me a last 10-year Mark Recchi. That's what we're looking for on this team. You brought up, I just want to bring this about Connor Sheary. Matt Niskanen, he said this about Barry Trotz, and it was in February or March. I can't remember exactly when, but he told us the reason we always lose to Pittsburgh is because we let little guys like Connor Sheary and Brian Rust win battles against us. I don't know if that stayed with anyone else, but it's sure stuck with me. And that really makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
And they went harder this time. They also caught a tired team. They caught a team playing on a couple of short off seasons. Like when you talk about what Pittsburgh needs to do to get back there, don't rock the boat. Just don't trade Phil, for the love of God.
You got
to patch that relationship up. Phil, you got to try in the playoffs. I tried the first 2 playoffs I was here, and I took the third one off. I'll be back next year. It's fine.
And that his sound reasoning, which sounds stupid, it makes no sense, will make perfect sense, and he'll win the 3rd Stanley Cup.
I got 1 goal in the 12 games. Came back, I got Conn Smythe. What are you going to do? Just so you know, next year I ain't going to do it. No, I ain't going to play.
I ain't playing next year.
I ain't playing next year, but this year, next year. So they'll be like, good, you're back here. What do you think? What's to do? We got a deal?
I got a deal.
What do you do? I'm working on my Phil Kessel.
That's a great Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
I ain't fucking trying this year, Jimmy. You can tell Mike Sullivan whatever the hell he wants to hear, but I'm just not giving her this year.
I'm not giving her this year. I'm not going to do it. But next year, good. Year after, no.
So we're heading into an on year for Kessel.
Yeah, Kessel's probably dry land skating for the first time ever.
He's just bombing Slim Fasts and caffeine pills.
You're dangling hot dogs in front of him.
He's training
off a stick.
Yeah, but he's wearing one of those plastic sweatsuits. You know those old ones for like the sauna suits.
Oh, he's sweating it out.
Ride an old stationary bike from the 70s. Hey Amanda, I got a new stationary bike.
Fuck, that's funny.
Amanda, how do I switch the gears on this thing?
So he's now like a 65-year-old New York man.
kind of. I gotta lose some weight.
I'm not fucking trying.
I'm not fucking trying. I'll get 1 goal, 12 games. I don't care what you say, Brooksy. You can write whatever you want. I'm back next year.
A tear is just going down Sidney Crosby's eye right now.
Phil, try. Nah, I don't want to try.
Phil, I really think you should try.
Fuck off, Sid. I'm hungry.
He's just like, how do I get through to him?
You don't.
You just got to know. Don't trade him next year. He'll be fine. He will be fine. I promise. I promise you he'll be fine next
That's
year.
all he's got to do as captain. Protect him.
He needed a summer off.
The whole Penguins team is going to look great next year.
Tired.
They're rested.
They might need to pick up a defenseman. Maybe
a Brandon Sutter
third
just to be
line,
safe.
yeah.
We got a guy.
They haven't been the same since they let him go.
No, they should.
They haven't been the same, all right.
We should package Oli Ulevi's bad back and Brandon Sutter back to Pittsburgh for Oli Mata. There, boom.
Oh, jeez.
Done.
Winner.
Done.
29th overall Canucks.
Would you do it for Oli Mata, 25 years old?
Are you asking me if I would get Brandon the franchise Sutter and video game addicted, allegedly Oli Ulevi for anything? Yeah.
For a top 4 defenseman who doesn't score.
I'd trade it for Jay Beagle. The rights to Jay Beagle.
To get him before July 1st.
Yeah, that's what I would do to get rid of those two guys.
Jim Benning, if you're out there you're listening to our show, you're trying to hear, you should sign to your old 6x6.
It's Jay
Maybe
Beagle.
you want to give Pittsburgh a call and see if they want Brandon Sutter back. We'll take Oli Mata. We'll throw in the latest prospect that we ruined because that's what we do here.
I want Jim Benning to mistake RFA for UFA and think he's got to trade for their rights.
So do you guys think that Ulevi broke his back because that video game Cherry bought was like a cheap Chinese knockoff?
Yeah,
and he had bad posture.
He didn't buy the good ones with the speakers behind it, and there was like a spring in his back.
He fell out of it playing Command and Conquer with Deeren. That's how he knew.
If you want to hear if you want to feel horrible and nervous as Canuck fans,
Yeah.
there is a certain Canucks defenseman that had the exact same surgery in 2011.
Who that was?
Alex Edler.
Oh, and
He came back and he's pretty much the same as he always was.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Kinda.
I just want to go to a couple more questions
He's
here.
kinda good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Alex Edler.
Vancouver doesn't know what real good is, so kind of good is like that's really good to us.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of good.
Blake Lidster was pretty good. Yerky Lume was pretty good.
I can't remember.
Alex Edler was pretty good.
Yeah, see?
Corey Hirsch, kind of good.
He was kind of good for a little while. Kurt McLean,
Yeah.
kind of good for a long time.
Kind of good.
Trevor Linden, kind of good forever. Bo Horvat, he's kind of good.
Bo Horvat is a Trevor Linden with
Yeah, he's kind of good.
Marcus Naslund, he was kind of good.
he had that one good year.
Pavel Bure, he was really good, but we scared him. We came on too strong. Came on too strong.
It was like a zoo. It was like a zoo animal.
We
Don't know what to do with real good.
We phoned in a text situation. We overstepped.
Well, actually, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're in the midst of with Brock Besser. Is he's real good, and we're like
Michael Scott trying to tell a girl on a second date that he loves her. Oh, what's that mix? How do I make a mixtape where it says, I hope you enjoy the commute and I love you?
Yeah, he's photoshopping. We're photoshopping
photos of us into ski trips with Brock Besser's family.
Yeah, and he's going, Minnesota's looking pretty good right about now.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very we're gearing up for summer.
I
and
go to Dallas and play with Tyler Sagan.
Yeah.
What do I got to do?
He'd be great on Dallas. He's so handsome.
They'd score
Yeah.
so many
fuck.
goals.
Man, that's where he's going. Brock Besser would look great in victory green.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
he become, because he's a college kid, does he become a UFA or an RFA?
No, once he's in the system, he'll be an RFA.
RFA, okay. So
You're only a UFA if you skip the draft.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, once you're signed, just like everybody else.
Two more questions back about the Capitals partying. Heather Smart, Patreon backer. We're on her Christmas card mailing list.
Oh,
Love
thanks,
that.
Heather.
What's your favorite OV Cup stunt so far?
Swimming in the fountain.
Yeah, swimming in the fountain. Even though the cup wasn't there, him just...
That's a no fucks given, I can't be arrested, I'm king of the world kind of move.
He's got $10 million a year coming, and he can buy his way out of any drunk tank in D.C.
He knows that no cop in D.C. would arrest him because he's white.
Can you imagine the D.C. cop that arrested a drunk Capitals swimming in a fountain? Like, no fun police right there.
Could you imagine a cup photo and a mugshot?
Oh, they put the height guide right next to it.
Oh yeah,
Cup or
Stanley.
Yeah, found property owned
Wanted
by-
for loitering in a fountain. Drunk and disorderly.
This is you mentioned drunken.
Sorry, no, finish.
You mentioned drunken disorderly. Ryan Hank, always 94. He goes, would Charlie Sheen be able to hang with Ovi on this current run, or is Mr. Winning in a league of his own?
Are we talking about Charlie Sheen now, or Charlie Sheen like Hot Shots Charlie Sheen?
2011 when
Let's
he left? No.
Let's say early 90s Charlie Sheen.
Oh, Charlie Sheen early 90s Charlie Sheen would bury those rooks.
And I know
those
just
drinking numbers are rookie numbers,
He
bud.
dabbled in everything.
Yeah.
Oh, he could go. I remember hearing these. He always tells these stories where, like, because he's such a baseball fan, he would invite teams, like winning teams or whatever, over to this like compound he'd have, and phones and everything would get locked up, and then they just party for a week straight. So I think that he and Ovi could do some damage together, but
I think he'd kill Ovi. Now I think because he's got the HIV and everything, I think it would be kind of tamer.
Slows him down a little bit. It'd still be.
He's got to take like 48 pills like every 5 hours.
But once he's ingested those pills,
I gotta have my AIDS cocktail. I can't be drinking.
And what is it?
I wanted to talk about the keg stand. Have
go
either
on.
of you two ever done one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've done one cake stand, but I say I've only unfortunately done one because I spent most of my formative years as a husky fella.
Right.
And I'm still pretty solid.
That's pretty much where I'm going. I'm like, he is a big guy.
Have you ever done a keg stand?
Yeah, and when you're upside down and you're propped up by a couple of drunk people, it occurs to you very quickly that you could fall face first into concrete.
Well, that's why you got to put your hands on the keg, so if they do drop you, you can shift your weight.
Regardless, you're also probably intoxicated and not thinking like that.
Yeah, I did a lot of keg stands
And
in
I'm
the early
like,
2000s.
I'm like, he is a big guy, so there would have been two very strong men holding him up.
If only we could find some hockey players big and stout enough to win the Stanley Cup.
Tom Wilson had that leg support.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Is he your least favorite player to win a Stanley Cup as of late, outside of the Bruins?
I was gonna say Brad Marchand. I never liked David Boland either. Never cared for David Boland.
He's not the MS guy, is he?
No, that's Brian Bickle.
That's
David
right.
Boland, I never cared for him. Who else didn't I like? I don't like Dustin Brown.
Yeah.
Really don't like Dustin Brown.
You're real American today.
Don't like him. Don't like him. Just don't like him.
It's because all of the important sports are done, so Dave is hearing a lot of...
I've been
the
watching
World
a lot
Cup
of base.
starts this weekend, and so is the U.S. Open.
What starts this weekend?
The
World
World Cup
Cup.
of shocker. Who gives a shit? Gold jacket, green jacket. The U.S. Open is the big one this weekend.
I care about both sports this weekend.
Well,
Don't try to mansplain
Tigers-
either of them to me, guys.
Geeta, do you think Tiger's going to win this weekend? You think he's got a shot?
I think this is it.
I feel like this is it too.
Because it's been building to something.
He's either going to win or he's going to shoot 80 and miss the cut. Like,
Yeah, that's
fantastically. There's no in between.
No.
And it's the Open this weekend?
The U.S.
It's also
Open.
the 10-year. It's the 10-year anniversary of his last.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He took his own yacht down. His yacht is called Privacy.
Well, that's ironic.
And Lindsey Vonn is now dating PK Subban to bring it back to hockey.
I heard that.
Whoa. Could you imagine being Tiger Woods' sloppy seconds?
They were at the Country Music Awards or whatever, making their...
He was the black guy at that.
Tiger Woods sounds like would look like such a dork compared to PK.
Yeah, who would be a better date, like a better night out, would be PK.
PK is so much more charismatic.
That would be a way more fun date. Tiger would get you into a lot better parties. Like, there's no door in the world that shut. Tiger Woods could go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And he did.
Including IHOP.
He's got his boat. That's IHOP now.
Yeah, he could go anywhere. But PK, you would have fun with.
Yeah.
I just think that he would be like such a dweeb next to, PK would be doing cake stands and then Tiger would be like, I can't do that. My back really hurts.
PK would take you on kind of a Master of None Nashville episode kind of date. You'd be eating chicken wings with white barbecue sauce and doing the honky tonk. Tiger would take you to an underground Serbian strip club that you didn't know existed that Warren Buffett is at Gonorrhoe at.
It's amazing. Trust me. And it's in a shithole.
George Clooney, Warren Buffett, and Arnold Schwarzenegger are on the front row going, yeah, that's nice.
It's a very exclusive clientele.
You can
really
literally buy the
is.
women, like for real, buy them.
And some Saudi princes are up by
They're
the
playing.
bar.
They're playing with their leopards, which are allowed in. They're the leopards on a chain are they're comfort animals. Stroking them. I have anxiety issues. I need my leopard.
Listen, those are Saudi princes. They can buy a soccer.
This is a weird episode of
It's got some ups.
Paul
and
is
downs.
not here to keep me and Geeta on track.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Yeah, we forgot to Paul.
We forgot to call you again.
He's got fucking horsefly
Is this now a
problems.
running bit?
He doesn't have time to call. We didn't have time for Matt Damon.
I talked to Paul on the weekend because I asked him how you're doing, and he's like, I'm doing a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
And he was betting on the UFC fight.
Paul is living out his 20s now.
What have we done to Paul?
He's basically in a frat.
Yes, he's doing cake stands right now. And
Kappa
he's
Sigma rules.
And he's a thick guy, so I mean,
They do the kickstands, you get a little thicker.
It's an IPA. It's a very heavy beer.
Yeah, hipster beers are thick.
And finally, on our last question, which
like
we'll
drinking soup.
Milan asked one trade or offseason move each team should make. We already talked about that with the
That's
Canucks.
too many teams.
What happened to the Golden Knights in the finals? I'll tell you what happened. They were exactly who we thought they were,
and they let them off the hook.
And it was an expansion team.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to them. And
they didn't want it enough. They
didn't know how much they needed to want it.
Yeah, it's true.
I couldn't believe they didn't have the depth, but they never juggled the lines once.
Well, you look at this too. You look at the Washington Capitals. You look at even the photos of their faces around Game 5.
Mm-hmm.
Ovi's got a black eye. Everybody's battered and bruised and bashed. There's so much blood on those white jerseys.
And there was.
And Vegas looks fine. And there's your lesson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Washington won, and they're bloodied up and wounded, and Vegas walked out of there like nothing happened. And I think Vegas has got a window of like 3 or 4 years where they'll have that team under the cap, and they'll be back next year, and they'll be good again. But I think they had to learn to want it. When
Yeah.
Holtby made that stick-saving game too, that was the first time they'd ever faced adversity, and they'd never seen it before. And I think I think they freaked out. When we didn't know it at the time. There's no way you could say that you knew it at the time, but that save in hindsight won them the series. It was over after that.
Also, like we said earlier, that Washington Capitals team, they've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
They were playing for each other.
Yeah, they're not letting their teammates down like that.
No.
Yeah, they're not a hodgepodge of misfits. They're a group of misfits that were mistakenly put together.
Both teams were by the same guy.
Yeah, same architect. It's like you and Paul.
Done, George McPhee.
Same girl. Yeah, what is he like? I got them both in the finals. Fuck you.
You've got a job for life.
No ring though.
We'll wrap up this podcast on a somber note because the day after we recorded last week, a dear friend of the show passed away. John Ashbridge was the PA announcer for the Canucks from 87 until about 2013 or so, and then part-time. And Dave and I worked with him we worked with him almost every night at Vancouver Giants games. And, I mean, if you've seen our Twitter or you've seen anywhere, there's an outpouring of absolute respect for the guy. And
love.
And absolute love. And he was a delight. He helped us on this show out a ton. He was responsible for helping us get some Canucks alumni. He would lend his voice. I could email him on the drop of a hat and say, I needed a commercial. I need to voice a commercial for our T-shirts. I need you to make fun of me and us and the fans for about 55 seconds. And he would just reply with, here are 3 versions. Pick the best one. And so he was just an absolute delight and a dear friend. And it was very sad. He was only 71, and he had a quick, unfortunate bout with cancer. And I know it's funny. Like I was thinking after we recorded the podcast, and I was walking home. I'm like, I need to email Ashbridge and tell him about all the recent changes in my life, and I'll send him an email tomorrow. And then that's when I got that information. So it's always the weird little things like that.
He just popped into your mind.
Yeah. And,
maybe that's why.
And one thing I will like to say is the last time I talked to him was in November when longtime listener, supporter, and Patreon backer Yerky21 asked me a question about the Bizarro World Canucks logo that was painted in the Coliseum that was reversed colors. And so I said I asked him. So it was Yerky that prompted me to have my last conversation with him. So going back through the archives or through my email, I was really glad that I did that.
Yeah.
He's just so generous with his time with anybody young and up and coming in the industry. But I remember the first time I met Ash was our first season with the Giants, which was about 10 years ago, which is kind of amazing to think that that was that long.
Oh yeah.
It's 2008-2009 season. I'm sitting there just getting my replay deck ready for the game, and he puts his hand on my shoulder and turns me around. And he goes, I'm John. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, nice to meet you. I'm Dave. I'm doing the replays and stuff here now. And he goes, well, I hope you don't think that you're going to get full-time work out of this. And he walked out of the room. And that was the first time I met him. But, it spurned a nice and lasting friendship. He helped, like Ryan said, he helped the show out immensely. But I also remember once Don Andrews at the last minute, our usual PA announcer for Canadians games, was unable to make it. And I got Ash's contact number from our friend Allison, and I was like, hey, have you ever done baseball at Nat Bailey? Like all the years he's been in things. He's like, I've never been asked. He's like, but it might be fun to try sometime. I'm like, can you be here in an hour? And he's like, let me go ask Yvonne. He's like, she's saying, get the hell out of the house. He's like, where do you need me? He's like, is there a script? And I'm like, oh yeah. It'll be nice to have someone who reads it for a change.
And then he seemed to fill in there for
that was the first time. And then ever since then he's been kind of the backup at Nat Bailey, and his voice went with that stadium.
Oh, perfect.
Like vanilla ice cream and apple pie.
Yeah. One of my just in terms of being a hilarious guy, he was he would instill that old school work ethic and mentality in you, and which was a good kick in the ass. Like when we started doing the show and I had to go hunt down interviews, it was just kind of him to give me a kick in the ass, saying, hey, just go get it done. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were doing the Top Prospects game, he was working on his script, and I was getting the Matthew Tkachuk and Ty Ronning our interviews, and just instead of doing a game together, we were just kind of hanging out, and I was just bugging the shit out of him because I'm late 20s and he's about 140 years older than me, and just fun little times like that. And he was a delightful man.
Yeah. I remember when I walked into Rogers Arena to work for the Canucks for the first time.
Yeah.
And he looked at me looked at everybody else. He goes, "We are really scraping the bottom of the barrel." He's like, "I got to retire if Dave is here now." And I was like, "Thanks, John." And then he just gave me a little wink.
Yeah, so you would have this really good gruff, bust your balls shell. But once you got through that, he was willing to help you with just about anything you needed. And yeah, it was fantastic. And I always say, like, if I'm sober or if I'm drunk off my ass, I will always tell people how much they mean or how important they are to me, and it's so that when somebody passes away, you don't have to worry about thinking.
What they knew.
And so every time I talk to him, especially like after Kirk McLean was on the show, and I'm like, I've told you thank you about 40,000 times and how important and what a positive impact you are on me, but here's one more time saying thank you for this. So
I guess one more time, thanks a lot, Ash. We'll keep a headset and a microphone open.
Well, we'll have a mute button because as soon as he announced that goal is going to...
Things get a little bit blue.